Hi, welcome to CHeri Knits. I love knitting and I want you to love it too. Today we're going to take a look at Mattress Stitch and Stockinette Stitch and how to use it to seam your things together from side to side. Let's get started. Let's take a look at how to do Mattress Stitch, and we're going to do it in Stockinette Stitch side to side. So if you have two pieces that need to be joined together along the sides, that's what we're going to take a look at today. How I like to set myself up, first of all, I like to leave really long tails. When you're knitting, when you first cast on, or when you bind off, if you know that you have to seam up a side or top, you'll want to go ahead and just allow for a really long tail that you can use later to seam up your ends. It's a little more secure than adding in a new piece, which can be done. But if you plan ahead, you've already got your nice long tails. The other thing I like to do is turn the work. So I'm looking at the piece that I want to seam, the sides that I want to seam this way, because I'm going to be working from right to left as I seam. So take your tapestry needle, and I personally like these. They're Haya needles. They have this bent tip. I think it makes it a little easier to work, to go in and out, but the bottom line, the basic thing you need to do is have a yarn needle that has a really big eye so you can easily get the yarn in there. And I think this bent tip is sort of a bonus. It's helpful. So go ahead and thread your yarn on your needle. And then the first thing I want to do is grab the corners. Now this one is already coming up and out of this corner. So I'm going to come over here and grab what feels like the corner on this side. And try not to split your yarn. There you go. And pull that through. Now we're going to work back and forth from one piece to the other, grabbing stitches as we go back and forth. And so I want to come over here, and you're going to take a look. There's a row of stitches going up right here. And this is the edge stitch, the selvage. And then here is a row of stitches. And right next to it, again, is the edge stitch, the selvage stitch. It doesn't look as neat. It's not laying as nicely, but you can easily find that separation between the first and second columns if you can find that real neat second column. So since I came up out of this side, I'm going to come over here and go down. Now what I want to do is I'm going to spread this apart a little bit to show you. You want to look in between those two columns of stitches, and you'll see these strands that connect the two columns of stitches. And what you want to do is go up and under, and you can choose to just grab one, or you can choose to grab two. I typically like to go ahead and grab two because then the process goes a little bit faster. And you're just going to work and pull that through there. Now, once you've done this side, you're going to come back to the first side. And again, find the two columns. And now you want to go down where you last came up, and that's right here. And then there's the first strand, and there's the second strand. Okay, so you go under and pull it. Right now, I'm not pulling this too tight. I want to leave it kind of loose so I can see what I've done. And then after we go through 3 or 4 times on each side, we'll give that a good pull. So now I'm going to come back, go down where I last came up, right down through the same hole, being very careful not to split this yarn, not to catch a little bit of a stitch, but just go right down and 1, 2. Because remember, I chose to grab 2, and then repeat that across. So down where I last came up, and you can kind of see how this bent tip comes in handy to angle and maneuver the needle through the stitches. 1, 2. Now, besides being careful not to split your stitches, also, you really want to stay in that nice straight line. You don't want to angle over, because then you're grabbing a row and a half. You want to stay right in between that original column of stitches. And there's 1, 2. Now I'm going to stop and just pinch this edge down here and give it a good pull. And that pulls it together really nice on that side. And then you would just continue. So you want to pull it every once in a while because you don't want to get all the way to the end and realize that you accidentally caught a little bit of your stitch so that you can't go on and you have to take it out. So every once in a while, give this a good pull and really get all the yarn out. If you happen to pull too tight and it puckers, no big deal. You can just pull it back out. So now we need to get going again. And remember, we're going to go down where we last came out. And in order to see it clearly, I am just going to pull it apart a little bit so that I can see, oh, okay, I was on this side. I came out this side. So now I'm just going to go down, grab a couple stitches, and just repeat. And again, 3 or 4 times on each side. And then you would give it that nice pull, and it pulls everything together really, really neatly. Give it a pull. There we go. And that is Mattress Stitch side to side in Stockinette Stitch. Now, if you need to take some back, let's just say you got off row, you got off of your columns and it wasn't right, it's really easy to undo if you need to. You can just take your yarn and then you would just pull it and pull it back to the point where something went wrong. And then you get back on track by giving it a little tug, finding where you last came out, and then you would just continue the process. I hope you found this helpful. If you did, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and feel free to leave a comment and let me know what kinds of things you want to see in the future. Thanks.